So just realized my microphone was not turned on. Yes, I did adjust the audio volume. All right, so everything I just went through. It's the Anycubic Vyper. Just opened it. Took the foam off the top. As you can see, it's about 1 inch thick. That's what I was saying. They actually packed it really super nice. This time I'm just unboxing, going through the parts. After I go through all the parts, I'm going to make room to put it up where my Chiron is currently, so I can do an actual side-by-side test of the Anycubic Vyper compared to my Creality CR-6 SE. Slightly modified, has the community firmware 6.1 on it. Printing very, very well if you've been watching my videos. The Vyper stock, I'm going to compare them. Got a couple things I've already printed for the Vyper, and then a couple things I'm going to have the Vyper itself print. And we'll kind of compare everything. You'll see it all in this one video. I'm going to tie them all together. Well, I was saying a second ago that none of the other reviewers do that I've seen. The bottom of the Vyper monitor, the display screen, that is a TFT memory card reader, the micro SD card reader. It is definitely there. Firmware updates, just like the Creality CR-6 SE. You got the DWIN folder for the monitor, and then you got the one for the firmware for the motherboard. Set him off to the side. Packed extremely nice. Try to pull these out. Kind of, it doesn't swivel, but kind of like the Creality filament holder. Another piece in here, and it slides up in here and locks. And then this will sit on the side of the printer. We've all seen these. We won't be using that, as I've already printed this out. If you've been looking at my CR6, you know this is just a different filament spill. Jeez, I didn't realize I had so many threads on there. I don't know which side it's going to be on, whichever. This just goes in here. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably shouldn't assemble this just yet. Yep. Put those to line up. There we go. And then, if this is the right way, we'll have to adjust that. A filament roll holder will. Oh, do I have one? I have one that has some on it. Oh. So it'll just go on there like this. It's got the lip on it so it can't fall off. And then with the ZYL Tech ones that I have, there's these lips inside the rolls that fit on either side of the bearings, so it won't slide off of them anyway. Honestly, don't know if it'll be on this side or that side, but you kind of get the hint. This still has to be rotated, it looks like. Looks like it'd be like that. Nice. But anyway, we'll be using that, not this thing. I don't even use it on my, well, on any printer that I own. Spare parts as far as I'm concerned. Alright, so we'll set him off over here. Oop. Power cord, actually looks like it's fairly long. In my case, it doesn't need to be super long. 3 feet would be plenty for me. I think one of the reviewers, maybe a couple of them, I think they said it's 6 foot. And they would be right. That's about 6 foot. It's about a little over a meter. The assembly instructions. 2 screws there, 2 screws here, 2 screws on the display. Pretty straightforward. If you've watched any of the videos, it's a piece of cake. If you own a 3D printer, it's a piece of cake. If you don't own a 3D printer, these picture instructions pretty straightforward, pretty much right to the point. It does look like it takes a full-size memory card for the like your G-code files, the parts you want to print, unless you're using the cord, Octoprint, or Quanterface, whatever the case may be. Bag of tools. Does come with a full-size memory card. Probably need to replace it. As the memory card reader, 2 extra nozzles. It does take the volcano. If we can get that in there. The volcano-sized nozzles. There's the screws for assembling it. Scraper, zip ties, I'm assuming to hold the cords up. We got something to fix that. And then a USB cord and a little tiny, I don't know how much that is, 10 meters of PLA white filament. We'll use it for the leveling and all that, test prints. Looks like that's all that's on here on the top level. Again, super thick padding. They pack these nice. I was one of the early ones. I'm not going to say lucky ones just yet, but one of the early ones who got in on the first one. I think that was the day they went on sale for $2.99. I can't remember if it was 200 or 300 of them for sale. But I was definitely one of the first ones. I know a lot of people got them before I did. Yeah, it is what it is. But ordered it on June 30th. Got it on July 6th. One thing I'm glad they added, I noticed in a few other people's reviews, they went to pull the gantry out, you know, the X carriage. The cable is already connected, and they put this in here so you see that. That cable is connected. You need to take them out together. And that's this cable right here. It's connected to this and the base. So you can't pull it apart separate. Glad they threw that in there. If I hadn't watched the other people's reviews, I would have had no clue. But that does bring us to the same dilemma they all ran into. How the frack do you get this out? So lift up on that. Oh, looks like the bed sheets separate. We'll come back to this. Oh, it's not exactly right either. Oh, that's one way to get it out, I suppose. Oh, they do have, put this over here where you can see it. The X carriage and the Z cables are zip tied. So this isn't, oh, that kind of moved a little though. So this isn't flopping around when you pick it up. That's actually really nice. I was kind of worried about that. And the see-through extruder, we'll get to all that. Gotta figure out how to get that out of there. I guess we just pick it up like so. I'm going to set this off over here on the side for a moment. I want to make sure nothing else in there. Throw all this stuff back in. I don't have any intentions of shipping it back, but you never know. Just in case. That's where we're going to build it. I think he'll be safe. Oh yeah, that works. And not only did I feel them, but I saw in some other YouTube videos there's some foam blocks under the bed. Awesome. Something did hit it, it would have protected it. Feels like that is it. I actually don't see a switch for the power supply voltage. So there's for the Ethernet, power cord on, off. Oh, there's still a zip tie on that. I don't see anywhere on here to change the voltage. Oh. Well, that's not acceptable. We'll circle back to that in a second. One other thing I didn't see any of the other reviewers talk about is there's a wheel on there. What does that wheel do? But the connection for the bed cables, oh, you can tighten it and loosen it. So you could take that off, it looks like. Zip tie underneath here slowing the bed down. It doesn't hold it, but it slows it down. The Y stop for the Z stop and the Z motor. This would probably be the Y motor and the stop. The other Z motor and stop. Cool. All right, we're going to flip it over. We're going to take it apart. If for no other reason, I want to make sure my voltage is set right. I'm in the USA, so it's not going to blow up on me if I hooked it up wrong. Those of you that are in places that have 220, if you hook it up wrong and it's on 120, it go boom. In my case, it just wouldn't work properly if it was set to 230. So from what I can see, it looks like the power supply is underneath these 6 bolts. This is the motherboard. Well, we might take a look at that while we're at it. Since we're here, we might as well just open it all up, I suppose. Yeah, definitely want to make sure that voltage is set to my country's voltage codes. Yes, I saw that screw move over. So it does look to be a Meanwell power supply. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. Alright, let's see if we can zoom in on that. You can see what I'm seeing. If it focus. So mine says 100 to 120. And then 200 to 240. So there's got to be a switch somewhere. Oh, hey, guess what? Well, I want to take it apart anyway. Oop. That Ethernet port is actually your switch for the 240, 120 volt. That is entirely my mistake. Most of you are probably thinking, oh, he's going to edit that out. Nope, I'm going to leave it in there. And it is set to 230, which is where it should be If it's set to 230, there's nothing you can do to hurt it. Because if you're in the US, you just don't have enough power to do anything. If you're somewhere that needs 230, it's already there. All right, so definitely set to 115 now. You can clearly read that, or I can at least. Yeah, I know, I couldn't find the hole earlier. Shut up. But anyway, it does look to be a Meanwhile power supply. 350 amps. It's got nice terminals, ground to the switch. I haven't heard anyone say anything about this switch, but this is just a simple 2-wire switch. I'll get you in there where you can get a closer look at that too. Whoop. Hold on a second. So it's just a 2-wire switch, that black and brown wire here. So not really, it's not lighted, it's nothing special, it's in the back of the printer, you can't see it anyway. I'm not going to use it either. It's just going to be like all my others, it's going to be plugged into a Wi-Fi controlled electrical outlet. Cords are, wired in very solid, none are loose whatsoever. It is 24 volts. So far so good. Wiring looks nice. Take that motherboard cover off and take a look under there. Zip you back over here on the wire off over there in space. Apparently my cat's excited about it too. I don't know what he's doing. One thing, I don't know if I'm going to do it right now. But I printed my tennis ball feet. Spider webs in them. Well, filament hairs. And then these would go down here in these tracks. So these little rubber feet will go away. Since I have it upside down and it's not really a mod that helps performance, it just lifts it up and gives more cooling under it, I might do that while I'm here. I'll let you know. But anyway, let's take this cover off, take a look at the motherboard, find out which version there we have. I'm assuming it's the original, the new one, or the older one. I think it's 05. The new one is 06. If it does happen to be the 06, there's a new firmware upgrade for it. If it's the 05 motherboard, I don't think there's an upgrade. I don't think it works on it. Oop, and the fan's plugged in. For those of you at home, that is a, I want to say a 60 by 60 by 20 millimeter fan. It does say brushless, 35 amp, 24 volt. From what I've heard, the cooling fans, the part cooling fans or whatever. And we do have version 6. Let me see that up there. Let it focus. There you go. So I do have version 6. So mine was not one of the originals. Those wires are a nice little rat's nest, but looks pretty. It does have the TMC silent drivers on it. XY extruder, both Z's. Looks like they're all separate. Z right, Z left. Cool. Fuse. And then on the front is the USB port. This one does not have an internet port, so it is just the USB. And no hot snot, no glue all over this board. It's actually, they're all tight, they're all snug. They're not tinned, it is bare wire it looks like. They're not tubed, but bare wire in there. Full-size memory card reader. That, yeah, that looks pretty good. But yeah, it's the Creality version 0.0.6 and then 2109. I'm assuming September, no? 2109, what the hell does that mean? Year 21, oh, 9th week of 21, I bet. I don't know. I honestly don't know what that number means. So, you want to go ahead and pop them on there. I think I do. So you just saw me twisting the rubber foots off. I'm not going to use them. Brand new out of the box. We're getting rid of them. Boom, poof, gone. Why? We're going to take these, and if I can print properly and measure, it should slide right up in there. Obviously, I have to loosen those two bolts to get it to slide down there, or I can take that cap off possibly. I don't think it was screwed on. I think it's just pressure. Yep. So that should pry off without breaking, and it does. And yes, I did see there's going to be a problem. This one, it won't fit there. I'm going to have to cut this piece to go around that. We can do that. This one, measured it just about perfect. I could have went a millimeter shorter, but that's all right. Snap that cover back on. And there's one here for the front. The one over here, that's where the screen will bolt on. And then when I have it sitting up straight, I'll figure out center, and then I'll glue these on, and then the tennis ball goes in there. Yes, my cat, he's got the zoomies. So let's see if we can get this out of our way with a much larger. This one. Now, and up the stairs he goes. Man, they weren't shy when they put these on. Again, you don't have to do this. I'm only doing this because I need some foots for this. That's the thing making all the noise. That cat. There he goes. He's gone. Anyway. Slide this one on. Possibly. Oh. And then we can screw these right back in. Oh, as I said, I'm going to do a fair side-by-side out-of-the-box stock Viper print with the CR-6 SE. These foots on the bottom, other than giving it more space and cooling, I don't really consider that a mod. It's an improvement, but this will be done before we print it, just because I had it upside down and took it apart. And then back up. Put the motherboard controller back on. The only thing, and I didn't see anyone else, well, I didn't see too many even take these apart, is the end of the metal extruders are very sharp, and these wires are just kind of dangling in there. I think they're going to be pressed down, so it probably is okay. I do see this part here that's up against the metal. They did put some tape against it, but I think those will be okay. Line up the hose. Two shorter ones go to the front, and the long one goes in the back. Not putting these in tight. I get it all lined up, make sure it's right. My guess is this one's gonna, it's gonna push down on those wires and hold them in snug. That one I'll give a little twist. Then we'll put the power supply cover back on. And then that fan looks like it might be well, if that's oh, this must be an 80. I said that wrong. This is an 80 by 20. This is a 60 by 30. Those aren't the loud ones, as I understand it. If I understand it right, it's just the part cooling fans that are loud. Loud by whose standards? I'm not sure yet. And all the screws for the power supply cover are the same. Well, I thought they were. He ain't screwing in, is he? We'll come back to that one. Oh, might be because I have the wrong size driver. Let's try that again. There we go. These screws look like they only have about 5 or 6 threads on them. So I'm not going to get all He-Man on them. They're not doing anything but holding a plate that's basically decoration. It does look nice. I'll definitely give them that. And one thing, you might have seen a theme. My Anycubic Delta printer, I went yellow purely on accident because I just happened to have that filament sent to me. So it was a black and yellow theme. I then bought my Anycubic Chiron because I do like Anycubic. I also went yellow on it just because I liked black and yellow. Never had any other printer except for those two. Well then, Creality came out with the CR-6 SE. Well, of course I had to have that. So I bought one. I think it's got to be different. Can't be black and yellow. So it's blue. And then my Viper, as you can see, is going to be black and white. So I think that will work. Grab a pencil. So with this screw in the way, I can't just slide this on there like I did the other three. I'm going to have to remove part of this to fit that. And that's just what I'm measuring out now, is how much of that I need to remove. So from that line down, which you can't see, There we go. From that line down, I'm going to cut that little leg off, and then it'll slide up in there. While we're here, let's go ahead and pull this off. These shouldn't break, but if they do, you can 3D print your own. It's in the back, so it's not even a huge thing. I am going to pause the video here because I'm going to go out in the garage and cut this. I'll come back. It'll be pretty much instant for you. Apparently we had a camera glitch there. That's okay. It didn't miss a whole lot other than me hot gluing the tennis ball feet in. I did go ahead and decide to just put these in, and then tennis balls, just gluing them into the cup while hot gluing. The need arises, I can definitely take them off. And the last tennis ball foots. And all that really does, well, two things it really does, is it gives it, this much height. Is that about 2.5, not quite 3 inches of space. So these fans, these air vents, get plenty of airflow. It's one thing it kind of does. Not really a mod. Second thing it does is it's on tennis ball feet. So if it vibrates or moves, these dampen it quite a bit. The little rubber ones that it comes with, granted I got them all stuck together, they're hard rubber. I mean, they're hard. I mean, it's rubber, but it's not going to absorb anything. It's just not. One thing I did not think of, I did on my Chiron, or god dang it, well, my Chiron 2 as well, but my CR-6 Creality is, I now have to lift this up to match that height. Now in most cases, I think it was like this. I think that's actually about the height, but I'll have to print out a little piece that will fit up in there. That's the only thing I didn't print. No, I lied. That's one of the parts I was going to print with the Viper. No, I actually honestly forgot about it. But yeah, while we're here, this just has these little clips. It just goes up over the extrusion, and you pop it down, and your filament sits on it. Unlike the Creality, it does not rotate out of the way, it's just solid. Which, well, I'll show you real quick. My chair's in the way. On my Creality, well, you can see that part I printed I was telling you about. And it does swivel, but I never swivel it. It sits just like you see it. Never moves. These are those tennis ball feet like I just did on there, but these are in blue. That's the piece that I printed to hold up the arm that holds the filament, and the filament thingy here that I was talking about. Yeah. Alright, close your eyes if you get motion sick. So right now I'm waiting just basically for the hot glue to cool. Not really a lot I can do till then. Well, there is actually. Take a look at this bed. I've never used a magnetic plate. It's always been the Anycubic Ultra Base. But this is that flexible one. And it's magnetic, just fits on it, pull the part, pulls pretty much right away, and then pop it. This side, definitely textured. It's supposed to be a PIE wannabe. A lot of people say it looks great. One person that I saw a YouTube video on, I think it was Spencer, printed on the smooth side. I actually feel some roughness to it. It's not smooth. But anyway, printed on it, used alcohol to, clean it. There's definitely a little bit of gritty stuff, but I think that'll wipe off. and print it just fine for him. I'll try it the way you're supposed to. Take a look at it, because I do like a smooth bottom print. Well, you've all done it. You've done it where it's smooth. We'll see how this texture looks, if I like it or not. If I don't, we'll flip it over and try the other side. You know one thing, I'm going to move you again back around over to the CR-6. The build plate of this is supposed to be 5 or 10 millimeters wider. Honestly, I'd say it's about 5 millimeters wider and 5 millimeters deeper, not 10. The Creality CR-6 is 235 millimeters, the Vyper is 240, definitely 5, but everyone was saying 10, but it's definitely 5 millimeters. Honestly, this same bed, if you were to buy it for the Vyper, would fit the Creality CR-6 SE. It fits right in there just perfect. You lose these clips, then you don't have to worry about that 24 volt ground plane. And then take the bed off, put the magnet on. You probably gain about 5 millimeters in height. So then this would then become 255. The Vyper's 260. And the bed would definitely fit without, yeah, it fits perfectly fine. There's still probably 10 millimeters of room on each side. And, well, the depth doesn't matter. It has forever. Yeah. So those of you that want to, the Anycubic Vyper magnetic bed surface build plate thingy will fit the CR-6. And then, like I said, the ground plane fault that's an issue with these ground, or the bed hold downs, get rid of it. Won't even be there. Bingo. I don't know. I like that ultra base. It prints really nice for me. Zip you back around again. Oh. So, put this somewhere safe. I have not done anything with the screen. Pretty much, it's kind of the same thing. You just plug the cable in. I'm sure there's a plug on that side that plugs in here. And then you got, oh, looks like there's 3 screw holes that holds this on. We all know what that looks like. Let's go through our bag of goodies while we're waiting for that to cool. Definitely don't want to lose these instructions. What do we have in here? So there's the USB cord you want to connect to your computer. It's just a standard, I think it's a Type B. It goes to the printer, and then the USB-A that goes to your computer. It's got this odd little scraper tool dealio. Has these zip ties for holding on to the cable management. We are not going to be using, well, I take that back, we actually might use them. Not the way you think though. Put them up there for now. And then of course these are the screws to put the bed together, and the gantry and the control board. Memory card, well, I don't even have a label on it of any kind. Just blank. And then our past inspection. Oop, there we go, past inspection. Put all these back in here. This PLA, I was thinking, yeah, we'll use it. What the heck? A little rubber foots I'm going to throw in here. did want to check something in the instructions about the bed leveling. The offset. This is nothing compared to the instruction book. Yes, I said book. It came with my Chiron. So auto leveling, click OK, wait, preheat, filament run in, Z offset. So if you've had a printer, this is actually pretty simple. This will be pretty straightforward. If you've never had a printer, if you follow the instructions, they look pretty damn good, honestly. Yeah, the instructions are pretty good. Now this says here for the tensioning on the extruder is to be 18 millimeters. The best, well, the better distance for extruding filament is about 18 millimeters. That could be right. I kind of find if you've had a printer, you'll kind of know by feel if it's too tight or too loose. If you start hearing a lot of clicking, you probably got it way too tight. If your filament's not feeding and your parts aren't sticking, you probably got it, I said that backwards. If it's clicking, you probably have it too tight. If your prints aren't sticking and it's not extruding well, it's probably too loose. It's one of those things you just have to do it until you find the right spot. 18 millimeters is definitely a good starting point, especially if that's what the manufacturer is telling you. Go with it. You can adjust from there. This is, 2 hot ends, extra cards, something. Let's see what this is. After sales service card. Oh, you can scan their QR codes for their YouTube channel. You can scan that for their Facebook channel, their YouTube, and their store. Okay. I already have all that. Memory card reader. 2 extra hot ends. And this is what I was saying earlier. These are the volcano style. I was just double checking the size. They're both 0.4s. Hopefully that's somewhat in focus, not even close. It was there for a moment. Anyway, trust me, they're 0.04s. Volcano size. So if you have a volcano hot end sock, it will fit. Put these back in here for now. They'll probably go in the drawer that's on this. We haven't even gotten that far. Memory card reader. Let's take a look at that. Plastic bag. Throw that away. It's got a cover. Takes the full size and the mini size. That goes into the USB port. Cool. Pretty straightforward and easy. We'll add that to the stack that we have. Memory card itself does not come with the mini for the display board. It just comes with the full size for doing your G codes. And yes, fits this way. So black to black. Oh wait, the other side's black. When you go to put it in, you'll feel it only fits one way. And then you plug that into your computer. At some point they'll have one of the USB readers on a printer, not yet. And then this you plug into the printer and you can print from it, or the USB cable that they provide, whichever suits your needs. They probably have the software, the actual full download or full manual on the memory card. Probably a couple test prints. I know they have some Cura settings. I think it's their version of Cura or older version of Cura. From what I've seen, they say to use the iMega profile and then just fix the bed diameter or the bed size to match the Viper. I'm probably going to use the one for the CR6. It's pretty much the same bed, same size. No, obviously make it a little bit bigger, because this one is 260 height. The CR6 is 250. This says it's 240 wide and deep. The CR6 is 235 wide and deep. Although if I turn out to like this magnetic bed plate, I might order another one of these. Put it on my Creality. We'll see. Get this out of the way. Screws. Should be able to flip this over now. I'm going to hold on to that build plate. Now there is a cable in here, some stuff sticking to this, and then there's a couple zip tie cables up there that we need to trim. I'm actually going to wait. I've watched a few other people put these together, and there's no reason to do it before that. Plus it keeps everything sliding around. Ooh, that does have some grip. I've never used a magnetic bed before. This is going to be completely new to me. I know the concept, love the concept. That's actually pretty easy. Doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of line it up, drop it. It's got some oomph. Now I've heard some things that when these magnetic sheets get hot, they lose their magnetic, they don't work as well. I'm assuming if they're sending them out with them, they probably fixed that or came up with a solution that maybe I'm not aware of. But as of now, that sticks pretty good. I'm excited to use that. I've never used this before. Belt tensioner, Allen screw head here, tighten up the Y belt. There's one on the gantry as well on the plastic housing that you see over there. Tighten up the X carriage. We'll go ahead and grab our 4 long bolts, and I believe there's lock washers for these as well. I'm not sure what a lock washer is going to do in this case, but they came with it. You're supposed to use it, they want you to use it, so we're going to use them. And then those other 3 screws are for the display to be bolted on. We'll do that last. Put these screws up here for now. They're a little bit greasy, a little oily, so they don't rust, I'm assuming. Never a bad thing. I'm actually going to take this little bag and put these hot ends in there, just because it's a smaller bag, and I think it'll fit in the tool tray better. Honestly, at the moment, don't remember what's in the tool tray. I'm going to assume a scraper, and no, we had that plastic scraper. Probably some Allen head tools, Allen wrenches. Let's see, can I get these up in here with my legs? I can. Ow. Alright. And it does have the notches. That was the other thing I had seen, but nobody had really gone over. I'll get you in close. And it is painted. They didn't leave it silver, so they notched this out for the gantry to fit in. It won't slide. It's inside that notch. And again, they painted it. I think on the other printer those are silver because they just CNC'd machined it out, and then that was it. They were done. Also, I'm looking at the end of the gantry, and it's not just the bare metal. Get this up here where it'll sit nice. Oh. Let's try that. Oh, that'll work. I'll just hold it. Those Z-rods are definitely greased. These have some kind of like a rubbery. It's not a gasket. Not sure what that is. But anyway, let's get it put together, or somewhat put together. For those of you who don't know, this is the back of the printer. That's the front of the printer. I know the extruder goes to the back, so I know I got it in the right position. And then you just kind of line it up with those slots. Oh, the other thing, make sure the cables are not under them. Can't remember who it was. I saw somebody had done that. Pinched one of his cables. Make sure no cables are under it. It should fit down into those little grooves. Alright, we're in the grooves. No cables are in the way. You should be able to slide these up and start them by hand. Let's get a couple threads up in there. See if I can carefully rotate this. Those tennis ball feet are only held in there by hot glue. So we don't want to be pulling around and tugging on them too much. Oop, double check my cables. Okay. I don't remember who it was. Somebody got one of these. I think it was one of the reviewers or testers. I don't remember. Somebody. And they got the cable underneath the gantry when they tightened it. Kind of crushed the cable and they had to do some rewiring on their own. So, their drawer. Let's go ahead and open that. That didn't get put in there right, but we don't care. Oh, it's got the little nippers. And they do have a lock on them. They're so cute. The hot end wrench. I'm not sure what that one's for. I'm not sure, honestly. And then the hot end cleaner. It's the needle that goes up in it when it's hot to clean out your nozzle. A lot of people are always asking what those are. And then the set of Allen wrenches. I'll take them out of the Ziploc bag. The extra hot end pieces I'm going to be putting in here. Find the one of these that fits. I'm assuming it's the big one, and it is. And I'm just going to kind of tilt it up. Just getting it snug, not cranking it down at this point. Then we'll test the other side. Then we'll come back. We'll actually tighten the other one and then come back and tighten this one. That way they kind of go together. The funny thing is, and I haven't put them side by side yet, this actually has a slightly larger build plate than the Creality CR-6. for some reason it seems like it's got a smaller footprint. I don't know why. I haven't measured them. It should be bigger, but it just seems to be slightly smaller for some reason. Now those of you that have never put a printer together, this is about as easy as they get. I mean, you put the gantry on, you make sure it fits into those little channels. It has to fit in the channels. You can't put the screws in if it doesn't fit in the channels. You got 4 screws. If it's in the channels, you can put the screws in. If it's not in the channels, they won't fit. There's nothing to thread to. I mean, lines itself up. As long as nothing's bent, like in shipping, like if it got damaged, everything should be pretty damn straight. And these I'm snugging. You don't want to go get all He-Man or She-Ra on them, but you want them snug. The lock washers should keep them from ever coming loose, but, you know, while we're here, we're going to make sure everything else is tight. Again, you don't have to get all heavy duty on anything. Also, while we're on this side, we're going to hook up the wiring. So you got 2 wires. This one says ZR, and this one says nothing. Well, I ain't going to fit there. Well, you can't see what I'm doing. What's going on here? Bring you down here. Alright, there we go. So this one says ZR on it, and this one has nothing. This is the Z right-hand sensor. This plug won't fit. You can't. You can try, but you can't. And then you got this one, and it also says ZR. So you know it goes to the Z. I guess then this one goes to the display. It's also a different size, but obviously this one goes in here for the optical sensor. This one goes to the motor. I'm going to put it back so it looks like it's underneath and looks pretty, or pretty as. Yes, we still need to tighten the other 2 screws on the other side. This is not lining up for some reason. Oh, there we go. I'm not going to put the display on it just yet, but there's the Z motor, Z sensor. I checked these 2 screws, tighten up the 2 to the gantry. I'm not going to do the wheels and everything yet. The wheels, the X, the hot end, I'll check that after I get all the rest of this put together. Also over here, the Z end or the Y end stop, since it's the only one that's going to fit there. Plug him in as well. Make sure he's secure, nice and clicky, so he's good. That's the X end stop, nice and clicky. Let's flip the printer around now. And we'll tighten up these 2 screws and check these 4. Those Z screws definitely are greased. Won't have to worry about them rusting. And again, you just want these snug. You don't have to be so tight you strip them. I mean, you're just going into aluminum. There's no actual steel nuts on the other side. It's just threaded aluminum. And if you strip it, well, then you're done. These 4 are actually kind of loose. Makes me want to check the other side again. See, probably 2 turns on them. The other side's tight. That should be it. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's it for this one. Pretty sure this is the one that goes to the display board screws. And it is. While we're also here, we'll slide the bed forward. And then you can see you can't see anything. We'll plug the Y motor in. And it clicks. And then we should only have 2 wires on this side. Of course I got them backwards. The smaller one obviously goes to the smaller sensor. The bigger one goes to the motor. And if you line the pins up, and you want to be careful you don't bend them. Foamy can go to the trash. They do have a little cable clip under here that you can't see very well. There you can. And that holds the cables underneath so they don't get entangled in the bed moving back and forth. I don't see one for the motors, but those should be out of the way where it doesn't matter. I don't know if we can tuck some of that wire back in. So we don't need... Oh, you can. Okay. Just shove it back in the hole. Oh yeah, that cleans up nice and neat. Cool. And these are separate for a reason. These will plug in up there. We'll get to that in a moment. Let's go ahead and jump to... Also notice the Bowden tube's not connected. Interesting. Let's go ahead and jump over to the front. Slide the bed back just a little. Now on some of these, I saw that the magnets here were in backwards. Mine seem to be right. Oh, I took that back. You see how it pushes itself out when you close it? It says, Okay, so yeah, just those magnets are in backwards. For everything I've read, you can just slide them out, flip them over. And grab something to slide them out. Apparently easier said than done. Not a hole underneath. Okay, what were they getting a hold of them with? I don't know if mine are glued in or they're just really attached. Well, mine must be glued in. I don't want to force them right now. Yeah, you can see it pops right back out. That's all right. We'll fix it. We know what that issue is. We'll get over here and we'll put the display on. And that's the last cable on this side. But before we do it, just like I did on the other side, I'm going to take this extra wire to the Z motor, just stuff it back down in the hole. What these are in the way of. I mean, even so, it's It's not anywhere near the bed, so, but it looks a little nicer. There. That's annoying. Need to fix that ASAP. And then the bed bolts on, or the display bolts on right here. And this cable connects to it. Only fits in there one way. And that should power the display, run the touch screen and the memory card reader. Now you could print your own stand if you wanted to and put that off to the side. I don't know why you'd do that, but you could if you wanted to. Get a couple of threads in there to hold it. And I'm in by no means any hurry whatsoever. I think honestly, just like all the other reviewers have said and what I've seen, if I was just to build this because I got 20 of them to do, I could probably have this put together and printing, provided there's no electronic issues, probably in about 15 minutes. I don't see that being a problem in any way. So, like I said, it's pretty simple. They definitely took their time. They listened to people when they talked about other printers and what they wanted and how they wanted it. Now obviously for the price point that these printers are sold at, they can't give you everything. You know, you're not going to get, 3-line laser leveling and, 4D or even 5-axis, printing. Not at these price points. You're just not. But for the, well, I got it on the early bird sale for $2.99. You're not going to get a better printer for $2.99. I know a lot of people are comparing this to the Ender 3. The only reason they're doing that is because of the price point. The Ender 3 is not even a competition for this printer. They're not even in the same league. The Creality CR-6 SE is the printer this needs to be compared to. And price point wise, they both are, right around $400 to $500 printers. That's just what they should be. Or no, let me rephrase. That's just the price point they're in. The Ender 3s, yeah, they can sell them for, you can find them on sale for $150. You're going to get a $150 printer. The Ender 3 is really nice. Doesn't have a touchscreen. Doesn't have the dual optical sensors. Doesn't have the adjustable belts like this does. Doesn't have the dual end extruder. Doesn't have the built-in bed level built in with the sensor. They just don't have it. It's a very capable printer. I mean, you have to manually level it. I think actually some of them do come with a magnetic plate now. I think it's the Ender 3 version 17. No, Ender 3 version 2. They don't have 17 of them. I was making fun of them. I think it does have a magnetic plate. I haven't used one myself, as I've said. I like the idea. I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works for me. I know how it works for other people. Other people say it's great. Other people say it's a piece of shit. I've never used one. I have no idea how it's going to work for me. So, that's the assembly. Oh, I didn't put the, this is the wrong side. This goes on the other side for the filament. It goes over there, but you can't see it over there. And I know my white filament sucks on camera with my overhead lights. It just becomes a white blur. I know. I don't have anything I can do about that. Oh, and here's something I just noticed. And it might be floating around, might be in the box, maybe I missed it. The end of the Z-rod lead screws are captured. You can see the bearing there. I looked at this side as well, and it has a cover. And you just pull this little tab, and it comes off. This one's missing its cover. I did have it upside down. I had it kind of hanging. Could be in the box. Maybe I didn't get one. I don't know. I didn't see one flying around or loose or anything. Maybe it's in the box. It was in a bag, so if there are any parts, they should be in it. So, like I said, that doesn't actually go there. It goes on the other side. I'm going to take this out because I'm going to fix those magnets, because that's annoying as hell. I'm going to stuff this cable down in... No, I'm not. Oh, this is the side with the power supply where it's all tight in there, so you can't stuff this one in. Looks like they should be completely free of the bed though. I know it still has that cable on there. I don't know if you can see that very well. I'll try to do it this way. There's a bit of movement in my plate. With this magnetic thing on there though, I can't get to the screws to tighten it. Yeah, this is glued on there. On the Creality CR-6 SE, the screws are here. Maybe I can get to them from the bottom. Would have been nice if I would have noticed that before I put the gantry on when I had it upside down. No, it is exactly the same as the CR-6 SE. There are screws that come down from here down. It looks like there's 4 across the back, 3 in the middle, 4 in the front. And there's those little plastic standoffs. Creality CR-6 SE, you can also change the size of those standoffs to make it even more level. You can kind of file them or sand them as needed, or add a piece of tape. This one with this magnetic plate, you have no access to them. But fortunately, the looseness I'm noticing looks like it's actually the wheels. So those eccentric nuts, I should be able to tighten that up. I don't think it's the bed that's loose. I think it's those eccentric nuts. So that's a good deal. That's an easy fix. This is on tight. Well, plastic into aluminum, as tight as that gets. Those Z-rods are greasy. Be around here where you can see the back. Now we've already done the Y sensor and the motor. We're going to go up. And we're going to be doing the extruder motor. And I'm assuming this goes, no, that went to the hot end. Where does this go? Oh, clips in here. Goes to that daughter board. Okay. I wonder why they didn't just simply plug this in. So it's like right there. But anyway, it says E for extruder, X for X carriage. That one labels on the other side. What does it say? It says X. Whatever that means. This one here is obviously the optical sensor. Little piece of Bowden tube here for the filament sensor, into that, and then into the extruder, which actually feels and looks nice. I think that is the only one to plug in. And then just like the Creality CR-6 SE, it's got these little clips. I don't know if I can get you any closer. Fold the legs up. there's the connector that this just goes up into. I'm not going to do it with one hand because I don't want to break those little clips, but that's where it goes. And then those squeeze over and close. Wiring is done. Done. Bowden tube. This goes in here. Done. Yes, still have the Z cables. So the 2 bolts on the bottom, 3 bolts for the display. Gantry, that's done. Put the bed on. Plug in your wires. Done. Check to make sure your voltage is correct for your country code, wherever you may be. We're honestly ready to plug it in and print. Alright, so you see this little zip tie they have up here? It's kind of bunching this cable up. We're going to cut that. Go on. Don't like that. Remember those 3 zip tie cables that came with the Anycubic Vyper? We're going to use them here possibly in a minute. These are cable ties I printed out. I should fit this cable. Oh, and they do. They fit perfect. I printed out 3 of them, as you noticed, in white. That's the theme we're going on this one. I know, the front of it's blue, but I already did blue on the Creality, so damn it, we're going white. Slide this one up as far as we can. Snap the Bowden tube into it. Well, it's supposed to snap into it. What happened? This one a little thicker than most. Of course, it probably won't. Oh, let me pull it back out. Let's see if we can feed it through this way. You know, I think this Bowden tube is thicker. I mean, not a big deal. We could print this, 5% bigger. I have some Capricorn tubing. I'm almost tempted to just switch it out. Let's test something here real quick. Maybe it's not cord. Maybe it's when I print it. Maybe I did them wrong. No, Capricorn tubing will fit in there. I definitely have more than enough. Do I want to switch it? I should switch it. Capricorn tubing is obviously much closer to 1.75 millimeter. This one looks like it's closer to like 2.1, which is fine. For what I print PLA 99% of the time. Occasionally I do wood filament or carbon fiber. I do want to do some TPU, some softer filament, but honestly I could just heat these up. Not going to do it at the moment. But yeah, I could just heat them up and make them fit. Okay, yes, I went ahead and heated up, made them work. Now, I'm going to take the zip ties put around them. It's not so much to hold the Bowden in, but it's to close the end of them. I found on my other printers the cable likes to slide out. So you put it in, kind of pinch it shut, and then zip tie it. We'll just do that on all three. These don't have to be super tight by any means. They're just holding a little clip together so that cable don't come out. Underneath, I'll show you on this one, you're just pinching these shut. That's it. Now on this, I'm kind of curious. I don't know if I want to do that last one. This cable, I was thinking about putting it up here, but I don't want to push it on the motor wires. And it's not going to be up this high. Most of the time my prints are 100 millimeters. Let me think about this one for a second. Clean up some of my mess. Unplug my camera. Let's clean up some of my mess. I tripped over the cord. Alright. Because if we force that cable up there, now we're going to be much lower, so it won't have all this pulling on it. So I think we will go ahead. It's a zip tie. We can always cut it later if we decide to, or if it becomes a problem. Cable up in there. And we'll just cut the ends off. While we're at it, we're going to cut the zip tie on the hot end. That's interesting. And see if we can get to the one on the bed. Wow. I'll have to do that one from the side over there. Cut the one up here, holding the carriage. There's also one over there. My chair keeps swiveling every time. It's the opposite way of where I want it to be. So this is the zip tie. We're just cutting those. I mean, obviously make sure you don't clip any of the wires that you're in and around. I think, except for the bed, that's it. Oh, it does come further forward. Good. Clip that out of there. I have no idea where the other end of it is. I bet it's on the other end. Smart asses. Oh, there it is. Now you can probably see that. Oh, why are you so far up there? Come down here. There you go. Now you can see this bed wobble. I know, the whole box is moving. You can't quite see it. Trust me, it's wobbly. It is wobbly. Where are the eccentric nuts? They're on the other side. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be? Still missing the other end cap for the Z captured rod. But you can print one. It's actually not that big of a deal. Hopefully it's in the box. We're going to find out here in a few moments. The only thing different between this really and the Creality CR6, no handle on the top. I didn't put the handle on my CR6 either. I thought it was stupid. So, tilt him over just a hair. Of course, this is the side with the screen. Probably should have done this before I put the screen on. Oh, damn nice. I got lucky, and I know you guys can't tell very well. You couldn't even see when it was loose, but it's snug now. The only other thing you want to do is make sure it's not too tight. The bed needs to be able to move, obviously. And it seems to be moving just perfectly fine. Y belt is fairly tensioned. X belt actually feels a little loose. We're going to adjust that. Something else I was going to check. Oh yeah, they do have the glue all over the hot end. Taking that shroud off, yeah, difficult. Let's move you where you can see what I'm doing. So the hot end itself, I'm checking to see if it's loose in any direction. It's not. Holding the wheels as it turns. All three of them are pretty snug. I hold any one wheel and it stops. But it moves freely. It's nice and solid. This hole, oh, that's to that wheel. That hole's to that wheel, and these both have the eccentric nuts. The Z seems to be fairly snug. I'm going to tighten up the Y while we're here. Of course, I put everything away. I have no idea which one fits in there. I don't know why we got all these tiny ones. Are those the ones that fit? Huh. That ain't going to happen twice. That was actually the right one. You don't want to get it too tight, which I think I did. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Move it back and forth so the slack gets through both wheels. Actually feels pretty good. All right. Now, I've got one more slight little mod. It has nothing whatsoever to do with the build quality or print quality or anything like that. Nothing whatsoever. These are the strips that go down in here. That sound you hear in the background is apparently I'm in the midst of a fairly decent rainstorm. So we'll get these snapped in here. Oh, I should do that the other way. You are correct. Let's slide it forward. It's a lovely little sound. And we need to trim the ends of these. Yep, didn't quite get him straight. Already made it faster. Actually, we'll do the monitor last. Yeah, I just realized you weren't even able to see what I was doing. Sorry. Put these white strips in. I did those two, then those two. And now we're going to do the one on top. That does look like got lucky and that just happened to fit. I'll show you that one when we're done. Turn him around. I'm going to do the ones under the LCD monitor last. Slide this forward. One, two, and one. Oh, there might be one short. Ouch. You see what I'm doing? Yeah, you can. Okay. It's all right though. These are pretty easy to print. I think one of these takes like 3 minutes. I usually print 10 or so at a time. And oh, I'm cutting that end off. No, I'll put him underneath. He slides under the motor quite a bit. Printing 10 of them, I don't know, probably takes about 15, 20 minutes. Probably not even that long. So if I do end up being one short, not really a big deal. I can print one out pretty quick. Now, because we'll probably be seeing this from the top more than we do this, I'm going to make this one look as pretty as I can first. I was just thinking I should have done this on the other side. Those of you still sitting here, These are just for looks. They're on Thingiverse. Pretty simple to print. No, other than aesthetics, they do absolutely nothing. I mean, that's all they do is aesthetically finish it off. It does look like I'm actually 3 short. Oh, just a hair more. Say 3 short because yes, I did not get the ones front of there. When I measured, I apparently measured for all these little pieces, which I could stuff in there. I suppose back here it would be fine. I probably actually will. Probably one closer. Oop, too short. Nope, it will be this one. Actually doesn't look too bad. Now the ones I'm short on are these two. And if I wanted to do these, technically I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The other side, 7, 8, 9, 10 more. And these little pieces, I don't really have a use for. They're too small. So these will go into the scrap PLA box. Let's go ahead and plug this in, I think. I think that's where we're at. Let's plug it in. Let's see what's what. What time is it? Oh, it's 2 o'clock. Well, let's plug it in and see if it actually does what it's supposed to do. It does look like that filament roll wheel is going to have to be on the other side. Yep, definitely there. Now, one thing I just realized, bring this all the way back. No idea why I was not thinking that filament rod reel needs to go here. And it needs to line up with this. Which is actually right about there, I think. Damn, that looks pretty good. One of those little short ones I had. Might just fit there, and it does. Well, damn, you'd almost think I planned on that if I hadn't forgot about it. While we're here, I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. Now, in my case, I've already made sure that this is set up for 110. I'm in the US, so whatever one it's set on, I'm not going to blow anything up. it was set to 230 and I plug it into 110, nothing's going to happen. If you're in the UK or somewhere else that runs at 230 and you got it set to 110, sorry. I think all of them default should be set to 220 or 230, whatever you want to call it. And I think honestly most of them are. So this strip, I didn't want to cut it, but oh, there we go. It'll fit over here. But does he fit under there? No, he does not. Just have to sell a cutter over there. Alright, so we got one strip. Need to print 4 on each side, so 8, 9 more. Let's go ahead and plug this thing in and do a bed level. Then I said I didn't need a 6-foot bed or cord. You are seriously not going to believe this. Over there is where I'm plugging it in. They don't reach. Okay. We can make it work. Ooh, must have been already on the on switch. It's too freaking bright. Anyway, before we do anything, I'm just going to go into the system. We had version 2.3.3. I think that's actually the updated firmware. What's voice? On and off? We want it to talk. Not messing with language because it already looks like it's in English that I need. Tools. Light. Do we have light? I see no light. Oh, there's the light. You can't see the light. It's on. Oh, light's off. And on. And it's white. I'm not going to make any comments, but it's a white light. Motors off. Move axis. Let's try X. If I can move you back, you can see a little better. So we're going to try X to the right. Fans kicked on. Let's go to 10. Let's move the Z down. I haven't calibrated anything yet. Okay, for some reason the bed is moving the wrong direction. I'm hitting the up arrow and the bed's going forward. I'm hitting the forward arrow and it's going backwards. And that could be a major friggin' problem. We haven't homed anything yet. We haven't done the prepare and all that. Let's grab the instructions real quick. Why is the Y motor, the bed moving the wrong direction? Oh boy. Yes, I can recompile the firmware. Yes, I can just turn the wire. Yes, there's lots of options to fix that. But why is it doing it? You already put it together. Alright, so it says to do the auto leveling before you do anything. So let's just do that. So we're going to click Prepare, Leveling, Auto Level. The probing will start. Please confirm to continue. Click OK. Bed moved back for homing. That's what it's supposed to do. Z-axis is coming down. Make sure the nozzle is clean. It looks to be. It's not telling me what the temps or anything are. Hot end's not warm. The bed is cold. It just says probing on the screen. That's all it says. So I'm just going to let it do its thing here, I guess. See what happens. Now, I do have my hand on the switch because I heard some people saying something about it hitting the bed. So I'm ready to power it off if that happens. And it is about 3 millimeters lower than the bed. The hot end is warming up now. Nothing is being displayed on the display screen. It just says probing. The hot end is definitely getting hot. And the bed is warming up, which is what you wanted to do when you're homing the build plate. You want that hot end up to temperature and the build plate up to temperature. I don't know what temperature it's going to. There's nothing on the screen to tell me. It just says probing. So we're being probed at the moment. Magnets are really annoying me. Trying to figure out a way to get them out nicely without damaging anything or anything. I could see what temp it was going to the target, where it was. I know when about to be ready for it. It's going over to the right. Hands on the power switch. Oh, it just barely touched it. Okay, so apparently I'm one of the lucky ones. It's going to touch each spot twice. Move to the second one. Barely touched it. Comes down. It lifts about 20 millimeters though. That could definitely be refined in the firmware. It only needs to lift 5 or 6 millimeters, I would think. Doesn't need to go that high. Yeah, that's doing great. I know you can't really see it. My camera doesn't go quite that low. It's just barely touching it. It does 2 steps and then moves on. The bed's probably at about 65, 70 degrees. Hot end, I don't know. It's above 200. I ain't touching it. So it's on the 5th probing spot, moving to the 6th. believe there's 16. I just realized I don't have the memory card in here. I don't know if it has to save to the memory card. I'm going to put it in, and of course it's upside down. Like all memory cards and 3D printers are, they're all upside down. I think one of the Ender 3s, I think it was like version 26. No, I don't know which one. There's not 26. One of the Ender 3s, it goes upside right. Every other printer, they're upside down. It's just the way the motherboard fits in here. So, spot number 9. But the memory card, the reason I put it in is I don't know if it's saving to the EEPROM or if it's saving the mesh setting to the memory card. I'll find out. I know on the Creality CR-6 SE, originally it's saved to the memory card. If you changed the memory card, you had to relevel the bed. With the community firmware, and I believe we're on version 6.1, it does save to the EEPROM on the display or the motherboard, wherever the hell it saves, but it's on the printer itself. So you can use whatever memory card you want at any time. Your bed level stays wherever you had it set. I do see where this could be an issue. That could catch on the motor. That's going to have to be, and that's the cable to the bed. It does not go up as much, but yeah, that could definitely snag on the motor. We will have to find something to fix that from ever happening. Because if the bed snags on the motor and it comes forward, it's just going to pull the wires out. And that's never a good thing. Should be the last one for the bed leveling. And I have no idea what it's doing. Apparently it's homing. Oddly, just as it moved, there was a crack of thunder. I was like, what was that? Alright, so it homes in the front left, about 3 millimeters lower than the bed. Use the offset I'm not going to mess with, but let's look at it. It just says 0. I have not seen anyone say anything about adjusting it, so I'm not going to mess with it. Oh, it can see files on the memory card. I thought they said it couldn't see files or folders. Okay, wait, maybe it can't. Yeah, there's nothing there that I can read. Alright, so let's back that off. Tools, temperature. Oh, current bed temp is 50. Target temp for the hot end was 120. Let's tell it to go ahead and cool off. So everything went to 0, good. I want it to cool off because I'm actually going to power it off. I am not going to print anything this time. Probably tomorrow night. For you, it'll be just a couple minutes. For you, in a couple minutes, we'll print an XY cube, calibration cube. And I'm not going to use their filament that came with it. I use strictly ZYL Tech filament. I'm going to use ZYL Tech filament because I know what its parameters are. I know the heat, bed temp. I know what it should look like. How it's. I know their filament quite well. It's all I use. So I'm going to use the regular filament that I'm going to print with to adjust everything. And once we do a calibration cube with the bed level and looks like it's sticking and everything looks good, we'll get this moved over, sitting up next to the CR-6 SE, and we'll print the exact same part on both printers at the exact same time. One, compare speeds. Obviously in the filament I'm going to have them both probably set at like 65 millimeters. I think the Vyper says 80 is normal. CR6 says I think it's 75. I like to print at 65. I'm not in that big of a hurry. 2 minutes faster is not going to make a damn bit of difference. Time-wise, quality-wise, it's definitely better. Let's see what the prints look like. No, I don't know what I'm going to print yet. Something simple, obviously. I don't know if it'll be a calibration cube or not. I've got like 50 of the damn things. Could do a benchy. That'll test the overhangs. Yeah, I'll probably do a benchy on both. Just cause. And yeah, the hot end fans or the part cooling fans are not the loud ones. The fan that's going to the motherboard, and granted, remember I have mine lifted. I have mine lifted up 2.5, maybe 3 inches. This fan is the loudest one. I don't know if you can hear that. And it's not bad. Oh, it actually just shut off. Got a lot quieter. So, it's actually done cooling off. Go back to the main screen. And then this is where you'd power it off with the switch in the back. I will not be moving that switch again. Where it is where it's staying. I will be using my main switch up here to power it off. And then unplug. So just an unboxing and an assembly and leveling the bed. Yes, I did a couple little things I added to it. Nothing that improves prints in any way. It's just that aesthetics. But other than these magnets being friggin' backwards, I love it. That was probably the simplest printer I put together. Even if I didn't know what I was doing, that was pretty damn simple. The CR-6 SE is also pretty simple, but it doesn't have the... How would I say that? Let me double check. No, actually it does have the same ones. It has the cutouts. So, I mean, you put it in, you can't miss. I got 0 complaints so far. I haven't printed anything. All I did was unbox it, put it together, leveled the bed. Is it level? Yeah, I don't know. Does that magnetic thingy work? Oh, hey, now they got it hot. I know. Oh, it's still just as strong. Oh, that's still warm. That's a pretty strong magnet. I mean, I'm using quite a bit of force. I know you can't tell how much force I'm using. Trust me, I am. All right. Well, tomorrow night we'll print a test cube. We'll get this to where we can at least get a decent print. And then after I get that going and it's printing good, I'm not going to tweak, too much. I'm going to kind of keep it as stock as I can, the settings and the Cura slicer. Just get it to where it sticks, where it prints nice. And then we'll do the side-by-side with the Creality CR-6 SE. Again, for me, I say tomorrow night. For you, it's going to be in just a few minutes. So until then, good night. All right, so as you can clearly see, I need a bigger office. Bigger man room? Bigger man cave? I don't know. Anyway, have not moved my Chiron. So we're on a TV tray. That was actually cool. I missed that the first time. I have not as yet printed a proper stand lift for the filament holder. so the roll of soldering just happened to be the exact right size. So anyway, okay, first off, let's get rid of the screen protector thing here. That's out. Prepare, preheat. I'm hoping we can change these, but yeah, it's saying 190 for the nozzle. I usually print 205. Bed temp is 60. I can work with that. The bed nozzle is just way too low. Can we change that? No, we can't. Well, that's a pain in the ass. Tools, temperature, bed temp, I can go with 60. Extruder temp, I'm going to kick it up to 207, just because I don't know what filament's in here. I'm going to be putting in new filament. I haven't even started it. Oh, it does show you the nozzle temp and the bed temp up there. I'm sorry, I had that backwards. Bed temp here, nozzle temp there. Holy cow, that is tiny. I mean, I'm not saying I got the greatest eyes in the world, but damn, that's tiny. Let's see if I can even get it to focus for you. Yeah, see way up there at the top? Like I said, that's tiny. But heating up the bed, and of course it's locked. I haven't cleaned it yet either. I'm gonna I don't like this stuff. I just realized this lays on the bed back here. So if you had a part, this cable is on it. That's not good. I'm doing a cube this first time. Wow, we're gonna have to, I didn't see anyone else mention that in the reviews. I was just looking real quick to see if there was anything, and no, there's not. Oh yeah, also these tabs I showed you earlier, the bearing keepers. I don't have the other one. I checked the box, I checked all the packaging material. I simply do not have it. But it's pretty easy. Basically just a little flat part and clip. Basically, I think it just keeps dust and debris from getting in there. I can print one out. Not a big deal, but I was missing it. Honestly, if that's my only complaint with this printer, I can live with it. So as you can see, I use just 91% isopropyl alcohol sprayed on a piece of paper towel. And this is a pain in the butt doing it this way. Now I did say I was going to do this just right off the settings in the Cura for the iMega, like Anycubic said. I did not like that. I've gotten used to my Creality printing a thin line down the side. Cleaning this, I'm actually not getting anything. I know that's just weight. My overhead lights suck. There we go. I'm not actually getting anything off this. So that either means there's no film of any kind on it. Like my Creality, when I first wiped it down, I got this yellowish, brownish film stuff. As soon as I got that off my Ultra base bed, that thing prints super nice. I mean, super, sticks nice. That's what it should be saying. Alright, bed temp is at 207. Do like you can see that. That's neat. Got right into the Bowden tube. It's actually a really short Bowden tube. Interesting. And then hopefully you can see that oozing out down here already. Clean that off. It's still going to ooze a little bit, because I did put a little bit of pressure on it and I did not retract it. I'm just going to let it sit for a moment. Make sure nothing's stuck. Make sure if they did print anything, it comes out. If they did print anything, they printed in white. My Creality, when I did my first test print, I can't remember what it was. It was green, I think. Obviously, they tested it before they shipped it. Yep, still got some oozage. I don't know if this print's hotter or colder, or it's right on what it says. It's also a Volcano. I've never used a Volcano hot end, so I believe this is a 60 watt, might be a 50 watt. All my other printers are regular hot ends and they're just 40 watts. I'm expecting to be a little hotter and ability to go a lot faster. We'll see. I haven't printed yet. This is going to be the first print and test in my slicer and all that fun stuff. We're just doing the test cube, the XY calibration 20 millimeter by 20 millimeter, 20 millimeter by 20 millimeter. That thing's still oozing. We'll let it do it. And then if I have my numbers right, it should do a test line this way along the y-axis, and then jump to the middle and start printing the cube. I think I did it at 15% infill, if I remember right. Oh, the stringing is horrible. Well, it's at it, still at 207. That is at 60. And I think we are done oozing. So let's go to print. I only have the one file on there. And it does show the entire file name plus the .g code. Click on that. Click on print. I do see a settings tabs there, so baby stepping. I have my finger on the power button just in case we did something really stupid. Something definitely went wrong there. Now I did notice in the settings, it seemed like the Y was backwards. Shit. So we want to cancel. We do not want to turn the motors off, go to the move axis. Let's move the Z-axis up a little bit. Now this is where I was saying the Y settings. I know you can't see it that well. Hopefully, there you can. You can see the bed to the left. I'm pushing the Y back. It's going forward. Pushing the Y forward. Nothing happened that time. I clicked home all, so that time it went backwards. I don't know what's going on with the Y. Is it backwards? Is it something I did in the slicer? Well, it has to be correct, but on the screen, when I push the Y towards the front, it goes back. When I push the Y towards the back, it goes forward. What the frack? All right, so let's lift Z up. All right, pushing the Y on the top, you see the bed. Oh, my arm's just going to be anyway. And moves it forward. That should be going backwards, I would think. Push the one at the bottom and the bed goes back. Okay, so that could be just a slicer error. I did that line in the coding based upon the bed moving forward. I'm going to tell it just to cool off for now. I'm going to pause this video. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm just going to use, just like they said, the iMega G-code and start code for it. I'll be back. Aha. Think it was user error. I made the silly mistake. I copied the files from my Chiron that's 450 millimeters. This is only 245. So this might have been completely my fault. Okay, let it get up to temp again. So basically what happened is the slicer told it to move back 400 millimeters. It couldn't. We'll test it. Hopefully it was just my fault and the bed is actually, the firmware and everything's the way it's supposed to be. We're going to find out. If the cube starts printing backwards, we know the Y is messed up. Hoping it was just my mistake in the slicer. This screen is a friggin' pain in the ass to read. That's all I want to say. And this is almost a BMG clone, plastic see-through with the dual metal gears. Kind of like it. It's oozing a little bit. It did seem like it was rather close to the bed. But from every video I've seen, it's supposed to be right. Let's try it. Looks like we're up to temp. Print. I don't know why the light's on. I didn't turn the light on. Light is off. Okay, so bed temp 57, hot end temp 207, print rate 100, fan speeds at 0, Z offset. So we can click or change that from here if need be. We can lift it up or lower it as needed. Still oozing, which is fine. Hopefully it should stop before it hits the end. Oh, I see filament this time. It did stop. It's coming back. Might be a little close to the bed, I think. Yeah, we're going to lift that up 0.05. It's pretty a nice little cube, it looks like. Click OK. Ah, you guys just can't see that. It's underneath. Well, you'll see as it comes up. First layer. Wow, that appears to look rather nice. I'm almost tempted to just stop it. Take it off and look. And a lot of people on Facebook are saying these fans are horrendously loud. Well, I guess that one fan hasn't kicked on yet, has it? We're at 33%. I'll wait. Maybe they get louder. But at the moment, I think it's quieter than my CR-6. The fan under here is definitely a little bit louder, but that's an easy one to fix. Actually, I probably won't. It's not that loud. We'll see how the hot end fans get when it gets up to 100% speed. I think that's the third layer I got it set at. Does show the time and the percentage, feed rate. The only thing it does not show is the layer height. I know a lot of these reviewers don't show the screen. I'll try to get it. So you see the name of the file, and I'm printing, if it would focus, print rate, the time it's been on it, it's been 2 minutes, progress is 4%, hot end temp, bed temp, pause, stop, and settings. Does not show the layer height. Okay, that would be a second complaint that I would have. I'd like to see the layer height. It shows the percentages, which I can deal with that. Now I've only got it in the slicer setting set to 65 millimeters a second. Supposedly it can run 80 and not have an issue, and with that volcano hot end, I'd probably agree. Fans are now at 100% fan speed. I'll get you where you can see there. Here's a focus. There it goes. And I'll be real quiet so you can hear them. And they're a little loud. Well, no, they're not a little loud. They're not the ball bearing ones. They're those sleeved or whatever you want to call. They're the inexpensive fans. I'm hoping they're 40 millimeter. I have not taken it apart nor looked. Oh, these are the 30s. That's the blower fans. There they are. Hopefully that'll focus. Oh, come on. There we go. These are the ones that I use. I replaced on my Chiron. and on my Creality, are these 20s? Okay, these are probably a little bit big. You want the 40 by 10, not the 40 by 20s. But anyway, they're dual ball bearings. I think it doesn't show the current rating, but I know on my other two printers it's probably 10, maybe 20% more airflow, and you can just feel the difference. I don't know the numbers, and they're silent. These are definitely loud. Well, I shouldn't say loud, but they're not bearings. They're on a sleeve. I probably wouldn't even complain about them, to be honest. But if and when, well, I shouldn't say if, when they go bad, I'll be putting the dual ball bearing ones in, without question. So I'm not going to chat anymore. I'm going to zip through the rest of this. Just let it do its thing, and then when it finishes its print, I'm going to hopefully be right there on it. It should be about 30 minutes, probably for you, probably 2-3 minutes. We're not going to wait for it to cool. We're going to lift the bed off, pop it, and then look at our print. Now these are not ones that I just did. These are cubes that I printed on my Chiron, the black one, and the cube I printed on my CR-6 SE after I had them dialed in. They actually printed very nicely. I've shown them in my other videos. We'll compare them. The black one's the Chiron, the blue one's the CR-6. The white one is going to be off the Viper. Even Rebel has to check to see what's going on. And it is, like I said, on a coffee table. And that's why it's bouncing and vibrating all over the freaking place. It's not where it's going to stay by any means. He's waiting to see what it looks like as well. We're pretty close. We're at 87%. And I can definitely see some, I don't want to necessarily call it elephant's foot or over extruding, but the corners are definitely bulged out a little bit. Now this, I haven't done anything to the slicer settings other than I added the strip to it, just so I know filament's there and working before it gets to what I want to print. It's the only thing I did to the slicer, and just the temps for my filament. Definitely see, I think it's line infill, or I'd have to look at Cure. I know which setting it is. We'll have to turn that down a little bit. But I don't see any ringing. I don't see any ghosting. Honestly, that looks pretty damn good, especially for the first print. You saw me take it out of the box, set it up. I didn't even square the edges. I just went with what it is. We're at 92%, it looks like. Now, even though it has the volcano hot end and the dual cooling part fans, smaller parts you won't be able to go so fast because you have to give it time to cool. But if you're doing a bigger part, definitely crank the speed up on this. I think their 80 millimeters a second is definitely easy for this printer. Probably even do 100 on a big enough part. As long as you give the filament time to cool before it gets back, so it's not, like when you print something with a point, you have to slow it way down, otherwise you're just going to mess up the tip of it. and it's only because it doesn't have time to cool. The filament's still molten and dripping, and you're just adding more molten plastic on top of it. It's just going to sag. Yeah, 97%. So it's going pretty quick. I honestly don't remember from the videos if it presents the bed when it's done, or if it goes to the back. But we're going to find out here in just a couple minutes. And done. And it does present to the front. Cool. Tells you it's done. We're going to click OK. We're going to lift this bed right up. Give it a second to cool. Oh, look at that. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm going to set it, that's still hot. I'm going to set it up here so you know I'm not doing anything with it. And what about this test piece? That actually came off pretty easy too. I wanted to see this. I couldn't do like it came up on other printers. Peel it off beforehand. Yeah. Now this one was before I lifted it. When I started the cube, I did lift it up that 0.05. We'll take a look at that as well. Oh good, it's not locked. Okay, so I can slide that back a little. I do see a little bit of oozage. Fans cut off. Looks like about 150. I might turn the fans off at 150. All right, well, as far as the bed goes, pulling it off, that was awesome. Okay, the one I printed on my Chiron after it was all set up and pretty much dialed in. The one I printed on my Creality CR-6 SE, also after it's been dialed in and set up. Printed on the Vyper, I've not set up, not dialed up, pretty much right out of the box. So let's take a look at it. I printed on white. God dang it. So I do see some layer lines in the Z. If I can get it to show, it's too light. Oh, there we go. There you can see them. You can see them on this edge over here. Now on the face of the X, face of the Y. Oh, there you go. Now you can see those lines. Now that's on the Z. And they're uniform all the way around. Now let's look at the Z itself, the top layer. Should have known better than to print this in white. See if I can get it to show. There we go. Now I see right there, there's a little zit in the middle where it stopped. That could actually be easily sanded off. But for a first print, focus you dang thing. That's actually pretty damn good. I don't see any ringing. Now let's see, bottom layer. This is the one on that new bed that I wasn't sure. Let's see if I can get you back in the center of the screen. Not sure how I feel about that. It is actually fairly smooth. I mean, you can see it. And as far as elephant footing at the bottom, no, there isn't any. The edges, you know, out here you can see. It might focus better on this one. So this is the bottom on a glass ultra base bed, and it's glass smooth. This one feels smooth, but it's not glass smooth. But I can actually live with that. So let's try our calipers. Zeroed out. And let's do the X. Hmm. 20.04. Oh, put it up higher. 20.04 on the X. Let's do the Y. I know you can't read the letters on the cube. I did it in white. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, the Y is 20.13. And then let's do the Z. It's 20.07. Okay, well, let's check the Creality CR-6 SE. We'll do it on the Z. It's at 20.2. Let's do the Y. 20.2. Well, at least it's consistent. And then the X. 20.2. Okay. So that's the printer, but it's consistent all the way around. 20.2. Let's do the one from the Chiron. Do the Z first. 20.06. We'll do the X next. 20.16. Let's do the Y. Where is it? There it is. 20.1. Yeah. So the X and Y are about 20.1315. Z is different now. Whoa. Something on there? Interesting. Well, anyway, 20.02. So not perfect, but you know what? Fresh out of the box. Obviously, I have some slicer issues. And I would expect to have issues because I just took it out of the box. I haven't done nothing. But as far as retraction, I might kick that up just a hair to get these out. And then the lines, I don't know why it's getting that on the Z. It's loose. No. And I have it set at a 0.2 layer height. It's pretty solid. It's only 10% infill. It doesn't feel like it wants to break apart. It's actually pretty good. Let me turn this top off. Maybe it won't be so damn shiny. Yeah, you can see those lines a little better. It's in the Z height, and they're consistent all the way around. So it's the layers. Bottom's actually pretty good. Top. Might need to increase the retraction just a hair. I mean like 2, maybe even 3 millimeters. I mean, if you really want to get nitpicky. But I was kind of worried about this bed, and no, that bottom's smooth enough. I'm good with that. Popped right off. Adhesion. I mean, it's still hot. What does it say? It's cooled off quite a bit. It's down to 40 degrees C, but Still takes a little bit of force to lift that. So I might be looking into getting one of these for my Creality. Well, I don't know. I do like that Ultra base. I haven't had any issues with it whatsoever. If something were to happen to that Ultra base bed, I'd probably replace it with this. It's cooled off enough. Kill the power to it. I thought I did. Oh, there it goes. Unplug it because I don't have it in a smart plug. It's not staying on this TV tray. I'll give you a zoom out as to why we are where we are. So the Creality CR-6 SE, my Anycubic Chiron, the big one. I'm thinking about putting the Vyper here. I do have that for sale on Facebook, but right now all the littler printers are selling so damn cheap. You know, you can get an Ender 3 for like 180 bucks, somewhere in there. I'm not selling my Chiron for $200. I'm just not. It's 450 by 450 by 500 high with everything I've done to it, and it prints nice. I mean, you saw the desk cube, you've seen all my other prints, or if you haven't, go back and look at my videos, or not. I'd probably take 500 for it with all the mods. I'm not going to take less. Just no. All right, well, I think next we're going to do these two side by side. I don't know what we're going to print. Probably not a cube, probably a benchy. We'll do a benchy. I think we did decide that. We're going to do, I have one here somewhere. We're going to print a benchy. You can't see him, he's too far away. Get over here. And he's in the dark. The black shows up better with all the lights that I turned off. Now you can see the benchy. And I think, if I remember right, I think I did print this on the Chiron. If I remember right. I think this was on the big printer. But we'll print them side by side, same pretty much setting, well, settings for each printer, but same speed, same infill, all that stuff, side by side, starting at the same time. See what happens. I'm going to dial the retraction up just a hair on the Vyper. I think probably 2 millimeters is what we'll try at. The wall fill, or the wall inline fill, or infill flow, there we go. I can't think of the exact setting. I'm going to back that off probably 5%. That should fix these. And then as far as those lines in the Y, I mean, if it was in the X or the Y, I'd say tighten the belt. It's on the Z, and it's consistent all the way around. All the way around. So more than likely, I'll get you a little closer. More than likely, one of these wheels on one side or the other is probably too tight. We'll have to loosen it just a smidge. That's the only thing it can be. Or the Vyper has these new lock things. I just remembered that. They seem, you know, tight. They seem to be doing their job. Honestly don't know enough about them to adjust them. I've never heard anyone out of all the videos I've seen say anything whatsoever. So probably the X carriage itself one of these is too tight. And it's making it kind of, where's the Z? It's making it kind of skip, well not skip, but making it harder to go up than it should be. And I think that's where those lines are coming from. But still, even with that, that printed very impressively for the very first print. Now the filament is very forgiving. That's why I use the ZYL Tech printing, or fudge filament, because it prints nice. You see all my parts up there. I know, a lot of them are not in focus. I have a couple up there somewhere. That's all ZYL Tech. And I don't have any issues with their filament. I couldn't even tell you, I've probably been through at least 100 rolls. Never had a problem with their filament. I had some issues with the printers, but not the filaments. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to check my centric nuts on the X carriage. That's the only thing it can be. Hopefully get that fixed. And then next time we'll be printing this here in a few minutes for you. We'll be printing a benchy on these two side by side at the same time. See what's what. Well, we were totally supposed to be printing a benchy on each one of these and comparing them. We're not doing that. So on my Creality CR-6 SE, we finished printing off all the, whatever you want to call these things, the infills for the extrusion aluminum. Did the blue ones on that, did the white ones on the Viper. While it was doing that, I decided I would print the piece that goes in between and holds up the filament rod. As you can see, I have a stack of the rubber feet off of this holding it up. And this unfinished print, it just stopped extruding. If you notice though, I got rid of all the lines but two. No, you can't see that. I know, I printed it in white. Ah, there you go. There's still a couple layer shifts in there. But I did find what it is, and I think I have it fixed now. Initially, I thought it was just because I had it on that TV tray and it was wobbling all over the place. Well, that was definitely part of it. But the X carriage, the centric nuts, were just a little snug. So I loosened them, and then I was feeling the ones on my Creality, and I was like, oh damn, they're a lot looser. So I loosened them again, started printing, and it stopped extruding. Oh, damn. Clogged nozzle? Seriously? On a volcano? Okay, fine. So, like always, you know, I push the filament in a little bit before I pull it out so you don't get that little glob at the end that gets stuck. Pushed through just fine and came out the nozzle. Tried it again, pushed in, I don't know, 10, 15 millimeters, no issues. Hot end's hot, nothing's clogged, it's coming out perfect. Okay, what the heck? The motor came unplugged. So I'm checking that, the extruder motor. And I'm looking back here on it. Let's actually get you a little close-up look at it. You can't see perfectly on my stand here, but so I thought this wire came unplugged. Nope, that ain't it. Here's that. You can see straight through this. So here's the motor gear. It's hard to see when it's not moving. And then there's the black gear that runs off the motor, and then it has the two gears, the dual extruder for the filament. So I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? So I put it in filament extrude mode. I could see the motor turning. I could see the black gear turning, but nothing's happening. I'm like, what the heck? And then you can see this gear right here. Wasn't moving. Pushed filament in by hand, pulled this out so it was loose. and then it would extract a little bit. As soon as it did that, I was like, I know what it is. The set screw on this hob, the feeder gear wasn't tight. Tightened it up, and now this is where we are. I actually honestly had filmed all of, or recorded all this earlier. When I thought I had a clogged nozzle, I thought I had saved the footage. Unfortunately, I didn't save it. I closed it. So we are going to try to print a test cube on that again. If the test cube and the filament and all that's working, actually I should have this heating up while I'm talking. If the test cube prints out fine, like I'm expecting it to, I'm pretty sure, like I said, it was just that set screw, Allen grub screw, whatever you want to call it, was loose. Disappointed. But it was not one of the things I took apart and checked. I checked all the other screws, but I did not take that apart. Those of you that have or heard about the extruder on the CR-6 SE, you don't take that apart. Unless it's broke and it's not working, you don't mess with it. There is a little triangle piece in there, spring-loaded, set and aimed for your eye. Doesn't matter where you are, it's aimed. And if it doesn't get you, it's going somewhere you're never going to find. And that, it's a pain. And a pain in the ass put back together. So I did not want to take this apart on the Cubic Vyper. I'm going to start. Oh, one more thing I learned. Didn't see in any videos. The touchscreen. Hopefully I can get it to focus. Is not just the plus and minus. You can actually touch and type in the number you want. And temp for the hot end, I wanted it 207. And then click OK. And I know it's hard to read, but up there, oh come on, you see it's at 24 going to 57, and it's at 38 going to 207. None of the videos I saw showed me that. I had no clue. I found it by accident when I was touching the screens. Anyway, so we are going to print out another test cube, hopefully with no lines, hopefully with filament. Filament would be nice to come out, and hopefully no lines. This was printing fairly well. I mean, it had 2 lines. It was going to be 60 millimeters tall. So if I set it here, it was going to be about this height. So I have 2 lines here. I'm guessing I probably would have had 6 or 7 more. It would have worked. I would not have been happy. I would have used it, dialed it in. I think I got it now. I think. I hope. Just waiting for the extruder to get hot, and then we'll feed the filament in. Show you how easy that is. The CR-6 SE, I thought feeding the filament in and putting it in was easy. The Vyper's so much. You just put it in and you go. I don't use the firmware to feed filament. I just do it by hand because I'm just used to it. It does work. I used it to test the motor up there and stuff. Actually, while we're talking about it, prepare filament in. I don't know if you can see that gear in there, but he should start turning. We got to set the temp. There we go. And you can see him turning now. Wasn't doing that before. I don't want him to feed filament no more. Let's get out of that. So we're hot enough. Let's go ahead and feed some filament in. Then knock the alcohol over. No, I haven't been drinking any. So you go in the filament runout sensor. Be careful not to tangle your filament up, so that'll mess up your day. There's a little piece of Bowden tube here you go in. See if I can move you over here and not trip over you. And then it goes into here. I'm just loosening the tension off and continue to slide it through. No turning, no twisting, no mucking around. Just pushing it through. And then it's hot enough, so I'm going to push 5-10 millimeters through. Let go of that. All that should be good. Now, one thing I've noticed, just like the Chiron, the filament sensor is held in by one little screw. I'm probably going to print the same thing I did for my Chiron to hold that. As you can see, this is kind of flimsy. I'm actually going to tighten that up. As I just push the whole hex carriage in. But it's alright. It holds itself before we do anything. And as you can see, plenty of filament came out with me pushing it. Alright, let's start the print. Now we're going to do the test cube. One thing I did also find out is the light is always on when you start a print. It's rather annoying. You don't necessarily want nor need that light on. Now you saw there where it leveled itself when I pushed it down. I'm not seeing filament come out. I do see the gear moving though. Oh, there's the filament. Alright, that was it. I was 99% sure that was the issue. We have filament. We have a square. I forgot to wipe it down with alcohol. I've been touching that, my fingerprints all over the place. Well, fudge. I think it'll stick. This is actually a pretty good material. This one stuck amazingly. Like I said, I've never used a PIE sheet or a magnetic sheet before. So far, let's just say if anything happens to my bed on my Creality CR-6 SE, I will be buying the one for the Viper to replace it. Plus, I'd probably gain about 3 millimeters of height too. So, oh, I'm going to turn that light off. Blink. No, off. And this cube takes roughly a half an hour at this speed. I'm hoping no layer lines, no layer shifts. That's actually the only issue I had with it. The X and Y were good. I had no ringing. You know, it's hard to see those holes on this glossy ass white filament. This stuff is so nice in person though. Try to get the right angle. Oh, there we go. So you can see the layer lines going up from the bottom towards my finger here, but no ringing left and right, no echoes, just the layer lines are a little overpronounced. And I think it's just because the edge carriage was too tight, and it was on a coffee table that, well, or TV tray. It was wobbly. If you remember, this thing was bouncing like this. It's not doing that now. I should not have done it on there. But hey, it printed out a cube, and it was pretty damn good for the most part. Let's see if I can get you in here a little closer. Or probably drop you down a little too. Since most of what we're going to be printing is going to be that height. Yes, I know my camera is flickering. I have yet to figure out what is doing that in my videos. There was a Logitech uh, update. I think I'm going to roll back. Well, I'm here discussing that. Not seeing any lines. I go to pull it off. Oh, actually, he did pop off. He got rid of all of it. The extruded corners, the layer shifts, over extrusions on the top. Other than the set screw, grub screw, whatever you want to call that little thing that goes through and holds the hob gear that pushes the filament, other than that, I've had zero issues. I spent maybe, not counting that, maybe 20 minutes dialing this in. And look at this. This is the y-axis. God, if I can shadow it. There we go. You can see all those layer lines are gone. No ringing. No echoes. That's the Y. Let's go to the X. So nope, too much light. Focus. Yeah, no layer lines. No ringing. The Z. Again, I mean, and that was the top. Almost perfectly smooth. No, I am not using ironing. And the Z looks just as good as the Y or the X. And then the bottom, opposite the Z. I'll get it to focus. It's got a little texture to it. And if you have something cleaning or if you use your fingernail, you can kind of feel it, but it's actually pretty dang smooth. Hopefully from a distance, no, it's still too white. It just glows. Shadow, maybe, sort of. Get this so you can see those layer lines. Of course not. Well, trust me, there's layer lines in this. Look at it up close. You can see it. Oh, there you go. Kind of see. There. Now you can see those layer lines. This side right here is what we're looking at. Focus, you silly thing. Trust me, there's layer lines. This cube, none. No elephant's foot, no over extruding. Yeah, we're dialed in. I am perfectly happy. I didn't even have to pop it off for that. Well, I did not use rubbing alcohol. Maybe that's why it didn't stick so well. But it did pop. It was stuck. I had to pry a little bit, but it did pop off while it was still hot. Letting it cool off. Push this back just so it's in the safe mode. I'm actually designing a cover for this, like I did for the Creality logo cover. You probably saw me earlier. I fitted this over the Viper to kind of test fit. One other thing, I take that back. It's not really a complaint. I mean, I got this for $2.99. I spent a lot more than that on my CR-6 SE. But the filament holder, no, it doesn't fold, which I don't care. I never do that on my the Creality CR-6 SE. I'm just going to call it the Creality printer. That's a lot to say. Creality printer, Viper. Anyway, I never fold the one back on my Creality anyway, so I don't care. But let's say you were to print these holders out. The one for the Vyper, rough guesstimate, I'd probably say it's like 5% infill. The one for the Creality, probably 40% infill. So this one's a lot more flexible, and it lets this move. If you remember where I screwed the filament holder with the bearings, I think I might print a new one of these. It's just a little flexy. I don't like that. Well, other than putting a benchy on each of them at the same time, that's really about it. Honestly, looking at them, completely different methods of doing what they did, but they're pretty much the exact same printer. They both print very, very well. Both of them out of the box print it great. The bed leveling, tramming the bed was great on both. Filament feed in, filament run out sensors, the bed level sensor, awesome on both. Oh, I'm going to show you. I fixed the drawer. Can I turn it a little bit? See? So here's the drawer. And then push him in, you'll see him kind of suck in. All I did was pry those magnets out. What I did, probably not the best way. You can see where I tried digging on this one, made it look bad. But the easiest thing on this one, you can see, took an X-Acto razor and just shoved up through the bottom, pushed the magnet out. This one I kind of messed it up. So I was trying to pry it out. Just stick a razor blade in the bottom, pushes it right out. And clicks in. Now the Creality I don't think has a magnet. Oh wait, yes it does. I never actually open the drawers. I don't use them. But this is about the Vyper Anycubic. I love it. If I could only have one or the other, I mean, they do the same things in a different kind of a method. I do like this flexi plate I'm finding. Like the belt tensioners. These you have to have another tool, an Allen key to turn and tighten them. The Creality, as you know, just has the dials right there. You just turn it, loosen it, and tighten it, and it's a little more user-friendly. I had to print a thing to protect the cable because eventually it would just, back and forth, it would break. The Vyper, they zip tied it to this little metal frame. I'm sure I'll probably print something to hold that and maybe screw into that instead of a zip tie. Make it look a little nicer, maybe even hold the Bowden tube like we did on the Creality. The way that looks. Nice and clean. I don't think I can improve on this cover with the fans. It's got the two fans for the part cooling and the fan in the middle for the hot end. I can't improve on that. That is just perfect. Damn, if I had to pick one. And then in all honesty, I'm not a fanboy of any one in particular brand on anything, not even cars, cell phones, TVs. I just happen to have a Samsung TV, Samsung phone, Samsung tablet. It just turned out that way. Same thing. My first printer was an Anycubic Delta. My second printer was an Anycubic Chiron. My third printer was the Creality CR-6 SE. My fourth printer is the Anycubic Vyper. So I have 3 Anycubic printers and 1 Creality. Of the 2 printers, I have no complaints. That said, the Creality, I did have the the ground voltage. I had to fix the bed. Couldn't plug in a USB to it because there was 5 volts of voltage coming out of the ground. You'd short out the motherboard. The bed, when the nozzle touched it, had 24 volts going through to the bed. That was an issue. First prints on the CR-6 SE with the stock firmware had zits when spiral mode. It was just the printer. On the community firmware, they fixed it. And like I said, Sebastian was one of the biggest contributors to that. No more zits after the firmware fix. The Vyper, haven't had any of that. And this has got the bigger, like you'd see on a regular printer, like paper printer, color printer. I think it's called a Type B USB port. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. You know what I'm talking about. It's a little square one with the corners cut off. To where on the Creality, it's the one like a cell phone. It's the micro USB port. And that one was shorted. We fixed it. So now we can use USB on it. We can use a Raspberry Pi if you want to use Octoprint. I did connect up the Vyper to my computer with Ponterface, and I didn't change. I just looked at what the settings were for the extruder, the PID settings, the temp settings, all that. I just took a screenshot of it so I have it in the future if I want or need it. I suppose I could turn that off now. I think, honestly, that's probably as far as the review is going to go. I would say out of the box, the Anycubic one was probably the better experience. Didn't have any issues other than tightening that grub screw. Tightening the grub screw is a huge difference from plugging in a USB cord into the printer and blowing up your motherboard, which happened with a lot of them on the CR-6 SE, unfortunately. It did. Did not happen to me because, fortunately, I'm in enough 3D printing groups that I heard about the issue before I ever did it. So I was able to see what the issue was. They had a solution for it before I even had my printer, and as soon as I got it, I fixed it. And the power switch. Power switch was messed up on the first Kickstarter printers. I used the smart switches with Wi-Fi. I don't use the switch for the printers at all anyway. And on the CR-6 SE, I actually bypassed the power switch. That switch doesn't even do anything. The Vyper, it's on, it's going to stay on, it's never going to move. On my Chiron, power switch is on, it's going to stay on, it's never going to move. However, my Chiron, which no, I haven't gotten rid of, haven't sold, he's right there. Prints fabulously and is for sale. He's for sale. As is, prints great. I'll even include the Ani heads and the stabilizer bars. He can print with that big ass bed. It's 450 millimeters square. He can print about 80 millimeters a second with, I wouldn't say, what's the other one that's draft quality? Normal print quality. Not fine tune. I mean, you'd have to slow it down. That's a big bed that it's slinging around. But it can print at 80 millimeters, what either of these two printers can do at about 100. And these two printers are much smaller. They're like half the size of it. This bed is nothing compared to the one on the Chiron. I don't think I have anything else. Next time, here in the next couple minutes for you, we're going to do a benchy on both side by side. You'll probably be sitting somewhere like this-ish. And just do a print comparison. But yeah, pretty much the same printer but different. I mean, everything is very similar. They did the same thing but in a different manner. Like I said, the Anycubic, you have to use a tool to tighten and loosen the belts. The Creality, It's got the knobs where you can tighten and loosen them by hand. I mean, it's kind of like the guy that worked for one of the companies got fired and went to the other company and built the same printer. They're very, very similar. There's enough differences that you can say, hey, they're different. Actually, I think I can even zoom you in. I was talking about the filament sensor on the Viper being kind of flimsy with that one screw. There he is. On my Chiron, that's what I did. I printed this thing out, which is very solid, but it's the exact same sensor as the one on the Viper. Let me stabilize you again. As the one on the Viper, which is, as you can see, very flimsy. That's probably the only thing I'm going to print out for it. I don't know what else. It's already got a light. It's got excellent cooling. That was the other thing. The Creality was missing a light, and the part cooling was not good. Yeah, the filament sensor, runout sensor. I'm going to build a little bracket for it. That is probably it. I can't think of anything else. I already did the cable ties. I did the little extrusion fill-ins. Unless somebody else comes up with something that I haven't thought of. Out of the box, it's 99% ready to go. You know, do the bed leveling, do the retractions, you know, adjust as needed, you know, for tightness on the belts and the carriage. That is a freaking thumbs up. Yeah, this one I would, if we had to give them numbers out of 1 out of 10, I would put the Viper at a 9.9. The Creality, just because of the issues from Kickstarter, I know the ones after Kickstarter are fixed, but going off my experience, I'd have to give the Creality probably a 7.5. I mean, they were all easy fixes, but they shouldn't have been fixes I needed to make. The Chiron. As you can see, I changed the hot end. Oh, pencil sharpener got hit. I changed everything on the hot end. The cooling, the fans, the part cooling, everything. Out of the box, I'd probably give the Chiron, based on its size, what it is, I'd probably also give it a 7.5. After all the mods I've done to it, after all the fixes, I'd probably give it an 8.5, maybe an 8.75. That said, the Creality CR-6 SE, after all the fixes and the mods that I've done to it, I would probably also give it a 9.5. Viper, I'd probably have to give it to the Viper for the better out-of-the-box experience. It pretty much wins. Let's print some Benjis, see what they look like compared. We can do an actual side-by-side of the Creality CR-6 SE and the Anycubic Vyper. They are both room temperature. Turning them on now. Oh, still get this cover on. And start the warm-ups. Let them both warm up to temp. I'll clean both with the 91%. isopropyl alcohol, and we're going to print a benchy. It's the exact same size, exact same dimensions, using Cura 4.10. For both printers, with the settings I have, I think they're at 65 millimeters a second. It said 31 minutes each. Or, sorry, scratch all that. For both printers, with very similar settings, it said an hour and 45 minutes to complete a benchy. I'm not looking for speed, I'm looking for quality. And then we can do a somewhat, viable comparison side by side. As you can see, I'm using the very pain in the ass glow in the light white ceramic ZYL Tech filament. Should do it in black, but I think white will show up better on their beds as it's printing, and then we can kind of compare them. And what I'm going to do is when they're actually done, because the Creality one probably won't let go for a few minutes until the bed cools off, the Vyper will probably let go of the print right away. When it does, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to write a V on the bottom so we know which one is which and we don't confuse them later. And then when the Creality pops loose, then we'll kind of compare them, go from there and see what's what. Now the Creality is, or the Vyper's already up to 10. And the CR-6 SE is not. It's got about 10 more degrees to go. They're both warming up to 207 on the hot ends and 57 on the beds. I don't know if that adds better light or worse light. And yes, I do see I have a flicker in my camera. I even changed the cord. Thought I fixed it, but I see it is still doing it. I can't do nothing about it. I don't know what it is. Probably need a new camera. Well, no. It all started actually when Logitech decided to update their firmware on my computer. And all I'm doing now is cleaning up the little thingies. Of course I missed. And then we're going to clean the beds. And I am just doing a benchy that prints in the middle, but I usually kind of go over the whole bed. It also keeps down dust, animal hair, and all that fun stuff. I don't know if it's this metal plate or not, but this seems a whole lot warmer than 57 degrees. It says 57, but now because I know the Creality takes a second longer because of the way it does the homing. I know it's going to be a moment slower. So I got them both up. I'm going to press confirm and print. And turn the light off on the Vyper. Turn the nozzle off on the Vyper. I'll do it on the Creality after it does its bed level. So now it bed levels in the center. Creality bed level here on the top left, and he's already starting to print. Now the Creality is actually going to sit there and heat the nozzle back up. When it does the temp sense, it shuts the heat off for a moment, but with the fans I have on there, it cools off pretty quick. And as you can see, the Vyper is already printing the Benchy. And I knew it was going to be a little bit quicker. Here's a little test strip for the Vyper. Printed out very well. Creality's doing his test strip now. And then off to print the Benchy. Gotta say, the Vyper is definitely going to be a hair ahead. He's already at 1%. And that's the one from the Creality CR-6 SE. Pretty much the same thing. I'm going to move you in just a hair closer. Maybe not that close. So all we're going to do now is actually watch him print, wait for him to finish, and then compare them. And as I said, previously, just a little while ago to you, they're pretty much the same printer on par. Pretty damn close. Creality had a few issues from Kickstarter, the voltage, current going through the USB port and through the hot end into the bed. The Vyper, I had a grub screw, Allen's set screw, whatever you want to call it, was loose. The whatever you call it, the filament holder is a lot less sturdier than the one on the CR-6 SE. The cable's in the back. I'm kind of concerned with catching on the Y motor. I'm going to be doing something about that. If I get into taller prints, it's going to be more of an issue. The shorter prints that I'm doing now, it's not a big deal. I was thinking there was something else on the bike. Oh, I had to loosen the... you have to tram it. I did it to the Creality too, as well. You have to tram it. Fix the magnets on the drawer. The only things I've actually done is I put the feet on it to lift it up, just to give it more airflow to the controls and the motherboard and the power supply. Put the white strips in it. Yeah, those make it go faster. Put the filament Bowden tube holders on, to keep the cables together. Same thing I got on the Creality. Oh, and the filament roll holders with the bearings. We got the same thing on the Creality. It's a little covered up by that other camera, but trust me, it's there. And now we'll just zip through. Now I expect the Vyper to be about 2 minutes faster, just because the heat up and the process that the community firmware has on the Creality CR-6 SE. I forgot, I should have waited until it was at that point. I mean, it's only like a minute and a half, 2 minutes at most difference. If this prints out a lot faster or a lot slower than that, then we know there's other things going on. I do need to print out a holder for the filament sensor, like I did on the Chiron. That's very flimsy up there. Oh, and missing the cover for one of the bearings at the top that I showed you earlier. I got to print one of them out. That's it. I got nothing else that either one needs. Just gonna let it go, see what happens. Oh no! I just came in and realized we already have a failure on the Creality. It came loose for some reason. Actually, looks like it might have done that a minute or so ago. You see that nice little blob we built up. But kind of get the gist of before the blob, it was printing really nice. I'm not gonna redo it. Give them a hole. There it is. Pretty damn nice. Don't know why it came loose. It's never been an issue before. Maybe it's jealous of the Viper. I don't know. It's alright. We had another one that we've already printed on the CR-6 SE that came out with the same settings, same firmware. We all know what a gantry is. You can go back and watch my other videos where I did print this successfully. Actually, it looks like there might have been something on the bed. Oh, there it is. Something on the bed that I missed wiping off. Or these wheels do get that buildup of dust on them. Could have fell down on it. I've found that that sometimes will affect a print. Well, not so much for matching up speeds. Actually, they're both set at 65 millimeter and they're both printing about the same speed. Now we're just going to be comparing quality. CR-6 SE in black and the Viper in white. Also just was looking through Facebook on the forums and I saw that there's a couple people saying that the magnetic bed is delaminating after like the 5th or 6th print. Now when they showed them, it was this front corner, they kind of lifted it up and it showed the 3M tape paper was still on it. I don't know if that was just a defect with theirs. I don't know. I'm not going to mess with it too much while it's printing, but mine seem to be stuck all the way around. I'll double check it when this is done. Show the timer what it does, 27 minutes. We got about another hour and 15 to go. Actually, I don't know about that. It's at 25%. It's pretty much finished the bottom. It's just got the, well, no, I guess that's, well, you know what a benchy looks like. It's got a bit to go. So other than the bed adhesion failed on my CR-6 SE, it usually never happens. Like I said, it looks like I can see it out there. Some dust on the wheels. That buildup fell onto the print just before it started and it popped loose. Well, that sucks. But you can go back and look at my other prints of it. There's a ton of people that had the Creality CR-6 SE. You kind of saw they're pretty evenly matched. Go ahead and let this finish now. I just wanted to jump in here real quick. I was on the Anycubic YouTube video page. They're going through on the Viper, the leveling guide, setting up the Viper, replacing the extruder, how to replace the motherboard for it, how to replace the strain gauge, and how to replace the hot end fans, the 2 blowers, and the regular throw fan. They actually go into quite a bit of detail here. They show you pretty much everything. Unclipping that cable, removing the glue, taking the 4 bolts out on the head to hold it on, And you don't have to unplug all the wires, just the 3 fans and the LED light. They unplug everything for some reason. And this is actually pretty simple. Apparently it was released on July 4th. I'm the only one that's liked it. There's been 80 views on it. I commented on it twice. So yeah, they pretty much show you the fans. So if you want to get those dual ball bearing ones, like I've mentioned, you can order them off Amazon or wherever you want, or leave them as is. But that looks pretty simple, straightforward replacement. And then the LED you'll see here in a moment. If you wanted to change it out, put a different color in, it's right there. Done. Use any LED you want. Now I know on the Creality it came with a blue one. I actually like the blue one, but like everyone else, you can't see anything. I did change mine over to a white one. But yeah, they were nice enough to pretty much put everything you would need. Anycubic's kind of went above and beyond. I would definitely, and I know I got mine on the early bird special. I paid a very small amount for my printer, and I'm very happy with my printer. But yeah, definitely check out their videos. They got 6 of them here just on the Viper. Let's see if I can go to their site. Yeah, there they are. Go to their videos. Put that over there. They have the spring steel, the auto. I mean, they have. For some reason, those videos are unlisted. They were listed on July 4th. Oh, should have been just a couple days ago. Oh, if you go to Anycubic site, go to their playlists, and then go to their Viper installation replacement accessories. You'll get this list. I subscribed to their channel, so I got notified. And it just starts off with one. Probably should have started out with the setup and then the leveling, but they did the leveling first, which it's fine. It goes through everything. They did a pretty decent job. I jump back over to the print. Yeah, I think Anycubic is doing great with their everything. So I'm just watching it do the bridging for the roof of the benchy. Those dual fans and the retraction settings I have set up. Damn. I mean, we'll have to see what the overhang itself looks like, but granted, that's only like what, I don't know, quarter-inch gap. I know on my Creality CR-6 I did the test print thing with the bridging and the gaps. Actually, let me grab that. I think I have it right here. Okay, I don't have it. But anyway, I think I was able to bridge about 1.5-ish with the fan setup I have now. I think the Vyper could probably do just as well. That will apparently be one of the next things we do. Still annoyed that did not stick. I'm going to start printing cover such as this for the Vyper. One I just showed you fits here. You've seen it in my other videos. I've already designed it, set it up. Now I'm going to start putting it for the Vyper. Oh, of course on the CR-6 SE. Just wiping it down right now with the isopropyl alcohol. Thought you were watching it. Anyway. Just finished actually designing this. Hoping it comes out as well as it looks. I'll be putting it up on, well actually I take that back, it's already on Tinkercad. Look my name up, same as this here on YouTube, and you can find it. You won't see it till it's done, but you know, that's what it is. Actually, during this print, you'll see what's going to be on the cover. I'll make sure to show you. Still got about 25 minutes? No, we're closer than that. Starting in on that roof, and haven't done the overhangs yet. Well, it's done the little one in the back, but I want to see it start doing the gap across the middle. You know, the other day I changed my Z-hop baby stepping on the Creality. I thought I pushed it down. Well, we'll see what it does. See how it starts. This one's a pretty good base across the bottom. I'm doing that gap across the lid. Oop, I bumped you. It is doing freaking fabulous. There's no sagging. I mean, granted, it's got 2 blowers on the part cooling. Yeah, just did the first layer. I don't see any sagging at all. Yeah. This head design that Anycubic did, with the two blowers and then the hot-end cooling, is much smaller, much more compact than even this one. Probably lighter. I haven't taken it apart, but this one just has the hot-end cooler and then the big blower. I think it's 20 millimeter wide. Those are two 10 millimeter wides. You can see I've already started the cover. Oh, here, actually, I'll show you. Of course, it's backwards because it's going to be flipped over. You can see it says Viper. And you see underneath, I don't think you actually can. Maybe. You can get a glimpse of what the cover is going to look like for the Viper. I think you get the hint. You just have to keep watching my videos to actually see it on the next one. I probably won't show the finished one. This one's going to be about a 3-hour print. You get the gist of what it's doing. I think that's going to look pretty nice. Those of you who get motion sick, when you get done barfing into your bag, you can see the bridging on the roof of that Benchy it's done pretty damn good. Now I do see a little line. I'll have to look at it when we get it off there, but something seems a little off. Oh, hey, I think I can get you to see that print a little better. I just saw it. What do you think? Nice. Anyway, back to the Benchy. Looking at my back camera and you see all the lightning and rain. Yeah, those flashes, that's lightning. Can't hear the thunder down here too much through the camera. I don't think you have one, but I can definitely hear it. It's booming pretty good. Anyway, back to the print. Well, we're right up to the 99%. Apparently I'm in a bit of weather coming. I just showed you some thunder and lightning a few moments ago. It is basically done. I'm trying to wait. I think starting that print for the cover of my Creality might have been a mistake. My lights have already flashed a couple of times. I haven't lost power, but they've flashed. Yep, now the Viper's done. Okay. We'll take a look at that in a moment. Switch over camera 3. So you can see down here in the bottom right, where the mouse goes. You can see our plants. Now these are full-size chairs, and that's a hot tub. You see how much the wind is blowing. The poor plants are getting ripped. One of them actually got knocked over, it looks like. You can barely even see through the rain over here on the bottom left. Oh, I said bottom left. I meant bottom right. You can see the wind. All these chairs and stuff used to be right here, they're next to each other, and then the doggy bed was over there. Damn. Top right, you can see the streets are already flooded. Yeah, there's, I think the curb's about 10 inches. And it's right at the curb height, right there. Hands on the Viper just shut down. The what are we doing? The Vinci. Let's get these out of our way. Yes, close. Okay. So as I was saying earlier, it was pretty awesome on the overhang there. Let's see, will he just pop off? No. Oh, you can see my fingerprints all over the bottom. Somebody was actually just saying something on Facebook that you're not allowed to print. I'm just setting this up there. You're not allowed to print on this smooth side. You most definitely friggin' can print on that smooth side. Can't remember what the guy's name is. I actually posted it on the Facebook forum. Spencer, something like that. I'm actually going to move you over. Right about there. So let's take a look at this. Yeah, there is a line there. I thought there was. Overhangs just a little bit on that arch. And then that rough textured bottom. I'm not a fan of that, I think. Let's see if I can get that to show. Focus. And you can kind of see it, but it's the rough texture. It did come out, it did print. It's just texturized. While we're here, we'll look at the back, the sides, and then the one line right about there. I don't know if you can see that there, you can kind of see it. While we're at it, you can also look up there into through the window into the roof. And there is no hanging, no sagging. Let's take a look at the top layers. Yeah, printed, friggin' fabulous. Oh wait, there's another line there I missed. There's one there. I'll get that to show up. There you go, now you can see it. They got two layer lines, but it didn't, and it does go to the other side. I do see it over there now. Yeah, there it is. It's right there. So I have to figure out what's causing that. Gantry's not tight. Whoop, I almost threw him on the floor. Now there's a gouge here. That's actually not from the print. That's from me. It happened to the Benchy afterwards. But no layer shifting. This black shows up a lot better. Of course, no sagging in there. It's hard to see on the black. Printed out the bottom. I got it upside down, of course. Just fine. This was on the Creality. Oh yeah, the V back here between. Did the Viper do that? Damn, that white is hard to see. No, it did not actually. I know you won't be able to see it regardless. Oh, actually, you can. So between the hole and that square, you can see it's just smooth. Square on the other one, printed on the CR-6. There you go. You can see there's a couple lines across the surface. I do not have ironing turned on in my slicer. I don't know, but it's printing really nice. I didn't actually take a close look at the top. Really need to get a new camera. But no, that's like glass smooth. Yeah, pretty friggin' happy. This is what the CR6 was doing in white before it lost adhesion. Oh, you can even see the lettering. The lettering's all messed up as well, so it wasn't sticking to start with. It goes into the scrap heap. So, what am I printing for the Viper cover? I was just showing it. I'll give it a second. It's doing the letters now again. And it's going to be a cover just like this, but for the Viper. Okay, he's going to be argumentative. I'm going to wait for him. Let's get to the back side so you can see what it actually says and shows on it. It's a little more defined now and easier to see. What do we on? Oh, we're on the second layer. Oh, for Pete's sakes. When you want it to hurry, it's like watching water boil. Anyway, it should start doing in the back, I think. Should be the third layer. Yeah, it should start in the back, doing the infill. Some people ask me about my voltmeter. I actually have that on all my printers except for the Viper. I just got the Viper, not installed it yet. It's just right on the power lines that go to the printer itself, right off the mother or the power supply. That's what's coming out of the power supply and going to the printer. Now to the back, you can see what we're printing. Oh, it's in the box, the outer edge. I'll come back up in a second. Yes, it's backwards because you're going to be looking at it from the other side. Yes, it's on Tinkercad. Yes, in my next video, not that you'll see in a few minutes, probably in a week or so, you'll see that on my Viper. I'm going to do some adjustments on tramming, see if I can get rid of that little bit of layer shift. Retraction looks to be perfect. Yeah, other than those 2 layer shifts. Darn it, thought I had that. One thing I guess I didn't show is the portholes right there at the front. No ringing, no ghosting of any kind on either side. I know it's hard to see, but those are perfect holes. The stack, it won't focus. Yeah, it did great. Other than those 2 spots of layer shifting, that's my only problem. One other quick thing, someone was saying that this was delaminating. Mine is definitely stuck down. But on theirs, they were able to lift this corner up and you could see the 3M paper was still there. It's just a matter of peel that off and stick it back down. I don't know how that happened for them, but obviously QC, whoever put that one on, messed up. And I'm growing to like the magnetic sheeted bed, and I'm growing to like that. That's yeah. So that's going to conclude these videos at the moment for the unboxing, the assembly, the test prints, the adventures I had with setting it up and test print, and kind of a comparison with the Creality CR-6 SE with the Viper. Not an exact print at the same time as I was hoping to do, but either way, massive thumbs up to Anycubic. more quick look at the new cover for the Anycubic Vyper. And then, like I said, you'll see that in my next video. Thank you.